Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of the Highly Taken Podcast. This is episode 9. I am David, back again from Tallahassee, Florida.
Christian, back here from Wilmington, Delaware.
Nick, back here from Jacksonville. Hey, let's get it, guys.
All right, well, let's first address the elephant in the room. Christian, better audio quality. How about you tell us what mic you're rocking with today?
Yeah, man.
So right before, about 2 minutes before we hopped on here and started recording, guys, I was like, man, David, that's so cool you have a microphone. I got to find a microphone. So I thought real long and hard about all my archives, and lo and behold, boys, this is what I found. This is what I pulled out.
The OG
Yes, sir.
microphone from Rock Band.
Yes, sir.
Which,
you know how it is.
I mean, granted, that mic is, I don't know how old now, and I bought this mic like a month or two ago for $30 at Target. Well, he's sitting there using technology from like 10 years ago, and it sounds just as good. So I'm getting gypped here.
It's that Rock Band technology, man. He's gonna start spitting out the vocals at 9 in and My Own Worst Enemy.
You're going to spit out more than that. So to start off, we're going to do our Dubs and Chugs results. Again, we pick 9 games throughout the weekend to see who can do better, and whoever loses has to be punished. So Nick, tell us what the results were there.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start it off. Both of you had a miserable start to it. We both went 0-3, which, I mean,
Love it.
That's pretty bad. It's pretty
Love
bad.
it.
But David picked it up. He picked up 3 in one day and 2 in the other with 5. So, you know,
Wow.
he really picked it up. Christian, man.
Yikes.
I know, dude. You had 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty bad.
So wait, so 3 for 9?
Yeah.
Dude, in MLB terms, I'm an all-star.
Nick,
Yeah, exactly.
Please tell me you did better than 2 this time.
So then there's me. I had 2 again.
No way.
I gotta go back to the drawing board here, guys. I don't know what's going on. Again, the Rays killed me. And then I will say, if we would have picked the first game because of the postponement of the game on Friday, I would have won that one, and it would have flip-flopped. Christian would have had 2. I would have had 3. But in all fairness, that was Friday's game in the first game, so we had to go with the second game.
So I'm gonna say this is your fault. Christian and I told you the reason we had the tiebreakers is just in case we wanted to pick the same people was fine. Yeah. But you were like, oh, I don't want to pick the same people.
Well, and then that's the thing. So the tiebreakers, you know, David, you said 5-4.
Yeah, 5-4 Orioles. Christian
said 6-3 or 5-3 Orioles, and I said 6-3 Orioles, and the score was 8-3. So I would have won the tiebreaker. So I think I have something brewing for this next one on Friday.
Yeah. I mean, after back-to-back 2 correct pick weeks, bro. I mean, come on, man.
Back-to-back, it's 3.
I will say I was completely terrified because I decided to open my mouth on the last one. I was like, oh yeah, I feel like you should go 0 for 9. There should be a bigger punishment. And then I was looking the first time, I was like, I'm 0-3 right now. that's not good.
Yeah. So because it's 3 in a row that I've lost miserably.
Wait a minute. 1 second. Which day did you go 0 for 3? Because with only 2 wins, you had to go 0 for 3 on one day, correct?
Yeah, you had to have gone 0-3.
Yeah, you had to go or had to go 0-3 one day.
I think I went 0 for 3 on Sunday.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Unless you picked 2 correct on.
I will say the only reason I have a winning record this week is because I have on my outline right from last week that I was going to say the Dodgers, and then the last second I didn't feel it, so I chose the Yankees.
Yeah. David went 3-0 on Sunday. I went 0-3. That was the day I went 0-3. But again, because it's miserable loss by me yet again, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. That's all I'll say. I made it a beer and a half this time.
I think what we need to do, we need to start putting a detective in there. We need to go into some investigation on if Nick's actually throwing this so he has to drink more.
Yeah, no, I really think we should. I mean, dude, 2 and then claiming that, oh yeah, we have a tiebreaker, bro. But I can't pick your same picks.
4-18 in the past 2 weeks, Nick.
Oh, that's bad. That's horrible.
That's like Cleveland Browns 2010s bad.
I won the first week though.
I mean, congrats, you got one.
But I guess while Nick is having to drink that, we're gonna go to our Big 12. A lot of things are happening in the Big 12. We're gonna give you our predictions, and like always, Christian, we're gonna start you off. Tell us what do you think of the Big 12 this year?
Yeah. So I think it's
Actually,
honestly.
hold on, I just
Yeah,
messed up. Yeah,
yeah, you did. Big guy.
I'm promised the viewers I was not trying to delay the punishment. I just forgot. I made a bet last week. And I came up
Oh,
one leg short of my bet. I said that
yeah,
Jackie Young and the Aces would remain undefeated during the weekend and that Jackie would score 20 points in the first game and 30 points in the second game. The Aces won both games. Jackie scored 20 points in the first game on 6 and 10 shooting, which is pretty good. However, she
that's
only
solid.
scored 19 points in the second game, which is pretty good off of 8 for 15 shooting. Still pretty solid games. The Aces remain undefeated. Jackie has 21.8 points per game this season, which is fifth best in the WNBA. And her teammate Ajay Wilson actually has the seventh best in the WNBA. So it's kind of hard when you're having to share that. But I guess I will do my punishment, and then Christian can continue what I was trying to make and continue in the first place. So I apologize.
It's okay, buddy. But go ahead. Let's see this punishment.
I don't like drinking. It's bad for you.
ASMR.
Underage
I want to hear
drinking.
it. Mm.
Yeah, open that throat up,
Ooh,
just like your uncle.
you're so close. Oh, there it
Oh,
is. All right, go back at it. You're so close to being done.
I was not. I was like halfway there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Brooklyn's staring at me like a nerd.
That's okay, man. That's okay. Drink up, Buttercup. Oh, and he added foam to it. Oh,
Yeah, you know he likes his foamy stuff.
All right, continue, Christian.
yum. Love it.
Ah, yeah, that was great, David. Honestly, a record-breaking chug there. Yeah, so for the Big 12, the way I see it in this conference is it's really a top three heavy team. Outside of that, I don't think there's gonna be a whole bunch of competition in the division. And personally, once again, that take might not be that great because I'm not that very interested in college football. And like I said earlier, the dynamics inside of it as a sport itself, I love it. But anyways, continuing on that. And number 7, I have Baylor. I don't really know why I have Baylor, but I have Baylor there at number 7 because I liked RG3 in his prime. So I feel like they deserved a spot on this list. So that's where I went with 7.
This is like 10 years ago.
But it's just how I went.
Bear
And then
down.
number 6, and I could argue that these two could flip flop because I don't really have much reason behind them either, is Oklahoma State. I feel like they tend to compete every year, so I felt that they fit here. It's what it's written right there on my notes. Okay, now starting into the real results here. Number 5, I had Texas Tech, and the reason I have Texas Tech sitting here as number 5 is Tyler Saw is coming back for another year for the team. But the team doesn't have much around him at all. But you go and look at it last year. He broke his collarbone in week 1. And then came back for the last 3. Well, came back and started for the last 3 games of the season and won the last 3 games of the year. So he was 4-0 on his starts in the entire season this year. The kid shined when he had his opportunity. But like I said, or just stated, this team just doesn't have enough talent around him right now, enough talent around the ball in general. Even with him, there's just not enough talent there. And in a division that, I mean, that has a team that just went to the championship game last year, the playoff championship game last year, I should say. So I think that's a good fit for there. They're at 5, though. And moving on is number 4. I have TCU. So badly, I wish TCU would have went and gotten that job done last year against Georgia. However, we can't rewrite that script, but we can try again next year.
So you're saying it's a script?
Oh, there's a script.
Oh, NCAA.
We can try again next year, right? No. TCU has 0 shot of repeating or coming even close to what they just did last year. Why? I mean, they just lost their Heisman finalist in Max Duggan at quarterback. Their number 1 and 2 wide receivers in Johnson and Davis. Their starting running back last year Kondre Miller, who rushed for damn near 1,400 yards. I mean, all of that being said, you lose that entire offense, and that was one of the most explosive offenses in the country last year. What are you left with? You get a former 5-star recruit from Alabama, who is Trey Sanders. My fault, I had to find the name. Coming over, who could potentially be a star. He'll probably be the workhorse over there in that offense because we don't know much about the quarterback, Chandler Morris, coming in to replace Dugan. I think that's probably where you'll see most of their wins coming from. I think you'll honestly see a big breakout year from Trey Sanders is going to be the workhorse over there, running back transfer from Alabama. But yeah, I just don't think TCU is going to be able to get anywhere close to what they did last year. They just lost way too many core pieces, especially to that offense. I think that defense will be able to hold up its end of the bargain, but I mean, with everything gone in that offense and the talent that's in the top of this division, I don't see them having any more success outside of maybe the 4th spot in the division.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting at number 3, I have Oklahoma. I have Oklahoma sitting here mainly because I feel like this is a team to watch, but I'm truly not sure how much damage they can actually do. They had a disappointing season last year under first-year head coach Brent Venables, going 6-7. As a team that 2 years ago were always talked about as one of the top in the division, they're now moving into the SEC in the coming years. And you just went 6-7, and you want to go play in arguably the best division in all of college sports. You need to figure it out. The brunt of it all will be behind Dylan Gabriel, the returning senior quarterback. He had a lot of hype around him last year because he's going to Oklahoma, where they've had nothing but success for a damn near decade at quarterback. Baker, Kyler, Hurts, everybody there. He comes in last year and he didn't live up to the hype much at all. So a lot of the time this year, or a lot of their success this year will depend on him. And I think, honestly, he'll be okay because they brought in a 5-star freshman, Jackson Arnold, and I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on Gabriel to come out there and perform. And I like that. I always like to say that, pressure creates diamonds, and I think that's the greatest way to get people to shine and bring the best out of people. And I think that was good on what the sides of Oklahoma is going to be able to push out through, because that defense is very well set up and the offense is set up. They got a couple wideouts. Yeah, bro. They got a couple wideouts with the transfer total.
Big 12 defense. Okay.
Dude, that defense is garbage.
I mean, dude, the defense is set up for the Big 12.
Oh, okay. For the
we
Big
can
12.
we can allow
Big
only
12.
30 points a game.
30 points. Yeah, exactly. 30 points a game.
Dude, they're sitting at 3. It's not like they're going to the playoffs. Relax.
Whew.
Sitting at number 2, K-State. I have K-State sitting here.
I like that.
Because mainly Chris Kleiman has done a tremendous job with his team since he has came over here and became the head coach. He led the team to a Big 12 championship last year, and I expect them to compete for that once again. I think we will see good quarterback play from the returning quarterback, Will Howard. However, I personally would like to see his completion percentage go up. Last year, he was just hovering at above 60 with about, I want to say it was about 60.3-ish. I'd like to see him come up to about a 63 to a 65%. I think that would be good. If you can get that, you're having
think
a
he's
really
going
good
Heisman?
No, I don't think he's going Heisman, but I think if you can get that big of a jump, you're altering a lot. You can be a game changer, and I think that's what they want out of him.
100% can be.
They just lost Deuce Vaughn, who is a really good running back for them, I believe. But they also just got Florida State running back Treshaun Ward, who went for over 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns on an average of 6 carries a game.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to be the first to say that.
Yeah, I wanted to be the first to say it too because of David. But I got there first. Let's go. I think he'll do a great job at filling the role, and returning Phillip Brooks and Iowa transfer state Keegan Johnson will lead the way at wide receiver. I think the defense is set up nice and will fare fine. They will be one of the better ones inside of the division. And then sitting at number 1, baby, they're back. Get the horns going. They're back. And I can tell you why. And I have almost a whole paragraph written on why. Oh,
3 to 4 sentences?
More than 4 sentences?
Ooh.
No, not really. Okay, so anyway, Longhorns, they're back, baby. And the whole reason why is because they're led by number one recruit of 2022, Quinn Ewers, baby. He's going to come out here, and I think he is going to perform. They're going to be they have a lot of great players on this offense. I think running back Jonathan Brooks should step in real nicely and to be able to take over that role that's going to be missing there because Bijan Robinson's now gone to the NFL, as we all know, a top 10 draft pick there. But I think that's going to be able to take the pressure off of Ewers and allow him to shine even more than he would have to without a running game. And I think this team, the biggest part of their problems, like everything in the Big 12, will be their defense. However, I think the offense will have so much firepower behind it that they will get into a lot of shootouts, but win a lot of shootouts.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Good picks, man. This is the first time. Yeah.
You know, the Big 12 is a very, very interesting conference. You know, they had only 10 teams last year. They're going to add 4 teams this year to get 14, and they're going to lose 2 next year, and they're going to finally be the Big 12. They're going to be like one of the only numbered name conferences who actually have.
Can you call them the Big 12 after that, though?
They at least have 12 teams. Unlike the Big 10, who's going to have like 16 after next year.
That's true.
So yeah, they added Cincy, they added BYU, Houston, former national champions UCF. They're now added. Again, but then they're going to go ahead and lose their probably 2 best teams out in the division here next year. They're going to go to the SEC, which again is very interesting because right now it seems like the SEC and the Big 10 are going to form like one giant 2 powerhouse conferences in the next couple of years.
It's going to be unreal.
So we're gonna start off with number 7. I have Baylor at 7. You know, I really love RG3. No.
Yes.
It's crazy that 2 years ago, this team was 12-2 with the Big 12 championship, right?
Right.
Last year they were 6-7, but 3 of those were 1-score games. You win, you lose, but if you're losing 1-score games, you at least were there. I thought that Sawyer Robertson, who transferred over, I thought he would get the starting job, but it seems like they're going to go with Shapen again this year, which is a mistake. We may never know. Maybe they'll switch in the middle of the season. We'll have to see. Now they have Richard Reese, who's a great running back, but again, in a high-scoring conference, it's going to come down to defense. Then you need a good passing attack if you're going to have such a weak defensive conference, which they don't really have. So I have them in 7. At 6, I have Kansas. This team, Kansas. Well, look, hold on. They came out last year out of nowhere. They averaged 2 wins, 1.9 wins a season from 2010 to 2021. That's how bad that they were.
Are we going over basketball or football here?
This is only 6 in the Big 12. That's not like they're too amazing. But last year they started off 5-0, which was crazy. They made it their first bowl in almost 15 years last year. But like the Big 12, they do have that offensive firepower. They returned quarterback Jalen Daniels, who was a Heisman hopeful at one point last year. And he was a baller last year. He was doing really well. They also get Devin Neal at running back. He'll help the Jayhawks get somewhat of a running attack that they'll need to be able to, have more of a powerhouse offense. But if they want to get anywhere in their division, they're going to have to try to do somewhat better on defense. They allowed 35.5 points per game last year, and they allowed 6 yards per play last year. And if you know anything about football, you get 4 downs. If you're allowing six per play, they're going to get a first down almost every single time. And that's abysmal. The Jayhawks brought in 6 transfer defensive players. I think that may help them get on track. I just don't think they'll have the recruits right now to be a powerhouse, especially with them just starting to get well. So maybe we'll see them make a jump in the upcoming years. However, it's going to be really hard to tell with all the talent that is in that conference. So at number 5, as I turn my papers, is going to be Texas Tech. Give me the Red Raiders.
Red Rockets. Yes, sir.
Joey McGuire did an amazing year last year in his first season. They beat Texas and they beat Oklahoma, which is fantastic for any team, really. They also added on a top 25 recruiting class this year. This offense returns 10 out of its 11 starters, which is always a good sign for your offense. Last year, they're in their quarterback who started last year back. He went 8-1 as a Red Raider. And now this offense has new recruits, could add some firepower to them. They have Tyree Wilson is now gone, but they got Syracuse transfer Steve Linton to help in the pass rushing now. They were, keep in mind, they were 20 in tackles for loss last year, which is a pretty good defensive stat. However, I just don't think they have the offensive firepower to go with my top 4 teams that I have on here. Number 4, I have TCU. TCU went 5-7 in 2021, but then turned it around and went 13-2 last year and brought themselves to a national championship game. However, their 2 losses were in the Big 12 championship and a blowout loss in the championship game to Georgia.
Yeah.
They unfortunately lost almost all of their top talent last year as well. Dugan's gone, Johnston's gone, Kendre Willer's gone, Steve Avila's gone on offense. They lost Dylan Horton, D. Winters, and Hodges Tomlinson on defense. They got their highest recruiting class ever in the modern era, which is good. They got transfers from LSU, Bama, UF, and Okie State to hopefully replace their stars. But they also lost offensive coordinator Garrett Riley to Clemson. They hired Kendall Briers to replace him. I hate Kendall Briers. He was part of the Willie Taggart FSU era at offensive coordinator. Didn't see him do that well. Maybe it wasn't his fault. Maybe Taggart's offense is the reason why he didn't do so well. I just don't know if they'll have the talent to replace what they had last year. And we're gonna go with number 3. I really was with Christian here. I wanted to be like, Oklahoma. I put Kansas State instead. The reigning Big 12 champions. I like Kansas State. Don't get me wrong. I love Kansas State. Yeah. They have the reigning Big 12 champions. They bring back a good portion of their team this year. Will Howard is back to run that offense, as well as their defensive stars in Austin Moore and Daniel Green. They had a balanced attack last year and root their conference championship. Like you said, they had Deuce Vaughn and they had receiver Malik Knowles. Both are now gone, however. But they got FSU transfer Trayshawn Ward, who rushed for 1,100 plus yards last year on 6.5 yards per carry. Unfortunately, like I said, everybody knows here I'm an FSU alum. I say it 5 billion times an episode. I got to see that guy play, and unfortunately, we just had 2 stacks of a backfield to actually have him on the team. So he had to transfer out, which is good for him. So it'll be very interesting to see what Kansas State can do. They have a really good offensive line. I feel like they have one of the more underrated offensive lines in the Big 12 and maybe even all of college football. I would love to see Kansas State make a giant run and maybe do something this year. I just don't know if they have the recruiting or the talent that these next 2 teams have. At number 2, I have Oklahoma. Last year was definitely a down year, and that's to say the least, really. They lost their first 3 conference games, making it basically impossible for them to even want to win their conference if they wanted to. They lost 55-24 against TCU, followed that off with a 49-0 against Texas. They got donutted by Texas. Again, they finished season 6-7, which is terrible for an Oklahoma team.
Oklahoma in the Pac-12 or the Big 12 is crazy,
right? And 6, like, dude, getting owed in the Pac, that's so bad.
That's what I'm saying.
Like they went out and they usually bring in good names. And that's the big thing. They have that brand on them, but they lost Marvin Mims. But at least they still have Gabriel to be paired up with 2 great backs. They have Gavin Sawchuk and they have Javante Barnes. So maybe they can give themselves some of a rushing game. Something we usually don't see a Big 12 team have is a good rushing game. So maybe they can have that. They just need to hunker down on defense. They allowed 6.04 yards per snap in their conference last year. And, again, Big 12 defense is hardly a thing, but they're not going to be in the Big 12 next year. They're going to be in the SEC. And you can't have a defense. You can't have no defense when you move to the SEC. You're going to get absolutely cumstered by Bama and Georgia and LSU
and the Gators.
And
the Gators, David. Yes, sir, buddy.
Oklahoma will have good recruits for sure. They have that brand, but will it be enough to beat the number 1 team that I have here? And again, I'm with Christian. Texas is back.
They're back, baby.
I believe they're actually back this year. I'm always a big skeptic. Even the year they said they were back, they lost to Maryland. I don't ever. I don't like ever saying that.
Dude, I want so much money on that game. I don't want to hear it.
Would you like to guess when the last time Texas won their conference was?
2007.
2009. Who was the head quarterback there?
Vince Young.
Colt McCoy.
I forgot. Dang it, I forgot.
2009 Colt McCoy. However, this roster is absolutely stacked. They returned Quinn Ewers, the guy who took his $1 million NIL from Ohio State and dipped, and they signed Arch Manning. and who will be ready to take over whenever Ewer leaves, and that's pretty good. He thought he would, not be like his uncles and be an SEC quarterback. However, he's going to have to be an SEC quarterback next year. They get
He's not good.
Well, we'll see. They'll get Nair. They get Worthy at wide receiver back. They were both injured last year. They have JT Von Sanders, who will be a stud at tight end, transferred in. They have AD Mitchell, who is a 6'5" receiver who will be well with complementing Nair, Worthy, and even Jordan Whittington. Defensively wise, they have a good linebacker tandem. They have Jalen Ford, and then freshman Anthony Hill will be somebody to look out for. Now, I think the big thing to look out for next year, they play Alabama. This will give them a taste of seeing what the teams are going to be playing with afterwards are going to be. They're going to play in the SEC. I'm excited to see what this Texas team can do, whether it's Ewers at the QB position, whether it's Manning at the QB position. I think this team's going to be special. I think this conference is arguably one of the most well-rounded conferences when you look at them. You have teams I didn't get to mention in the top 7. You have Okie State, who's always in there, UCF, Iowa State, Cincy, Houston. Those are really good teams that I don't even have in the top 7. Yes, I don't know if any of the newcomers are going to do anything in there. I think they'll have to make their time to prove themselves. We've always known that Houston, Cincy, UCF haven't played that well of talents. It showed when Cincy made it to the college football playoffs.
Rip.
UCF, they were undefeated. They didn't get a chance to go in. And arguably the only reason they had an undefeated season in a national championship is because they played an Auburn team who was missing all of its good players. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Texas and Oklahoma finally leaves that conference, because not only will we get to see what a Big 12 team can do on a full SEC schedule, but we're going to see who can actually come on top, because, really for the past several years has been Oklahoma kind of been running that Big 12 over there. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens after they all leave. Maybe they'll start playing defense. Who knows?
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing there, man. Is like that conference, they're great at what they do on offense, but they are miserable on defense. They always have been. I've never seen, I think the best defenses I've seen came from Texas and Baylor, and I think they've only at most in the years been ranked like 15th on defense, which still is not great, but it's great for the Big 12. For me at number 7, I got Oklahoma State. I just love the mullet himself, Mike Gundy, as a coach. I think he gets it done. He gets the team to rally. I think he gets them at least 7-5. They could go better. I do like their wide receiver, this Deshaun Stribling, and their tight end, Josiah Johnson. They are a good, quick passing core there that they have to go with the quarterback, Alan Bowman. I think he might have a good senior year this year. But the only downfall is that defense. That defense is horrendous.
Yeah.
They can't hold up against any team, in my opinion. So they just have to score points. It's gonna be a shootout all year long. Then I have TCU.
Ooh.
I got TCU.
That's a drop and a half.
From 1 to 6.
They go from 2 to 6.
Oh, that's right. They were second. Yeah.
They have a tough schedule this year. It's not going to be easy.
They play Colorado that first game,
and I think they lose that first game.
That's interesting.
I think
that's interesting.
I'll second it.
I really do. 19 players transferred out this year. That's actually quite a bit. I mean, it's not Colorado standards, but 19 is still a lot to have transfer out. I do like the 2 transfers they got from Alabama. Trey Sanders, dude's going to be a beast.
Baller.
And Tommy Brockermeyer, offensive tackle. It's really going to help them. You have Cordell Russell, could be a stud this year. I don't know. I just don't know what this team is going to look like. I think, again, like always, the Big 12, I think defense is always going to be the problem here. Last year, their defense was ranked 89th overall. 89th. And they went.
That's not good.
They went to the college football playoffs. That's unreal. They don't do
The
that.
championship. Yeah, I think we saw the 89th ranked defense in action in that game too.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
you don't do that again with that defense. It's not happening. Then, since you guys didn't do it, I got my boys UCF.
Oh,
I
2017 national champions.
like UCF at that 5 spot. They not to mention they were 39th ranked in recruiting. Their strength of schedule is not hard. Their first 3 games is Kent State, Villanova, and Boise State. They're going to get out rolling hot. They're going to start 3-0. They're going to get their feet under them. They're going to
Boise,
look good.
I don't think Boise's
Wait a
that
minute.
pushover of a game though.
Wait a minute, please. Wait, who were the first 3 games of the season?
Kent State, Villanova, and Boise State.
And you think they win all 3?
I think they win all 3.
So is Kent State not ranked above them?
No,
My boy.
I don't think they are. Kent State lost way too many players. Are you serious?
I don't
Kent-
know. I like Kent State.
You like Kent State? Well,
Yes, sir.
too bad we're not talking about those conferences. My boy, Kent State.
But then again,
Yes, sir.
one of my favorite transfers that they got is Rion Davis from Georgia, linebacker, absolute stud. He just wanted to leave to get closer to home. Love it. Think is going to be great. They have 9 seniors on offense. I absolutely love it. One of my favorite quarterbacks in the league is on this team, John Reese Plumlee. The dude is an absolute beast, and he's athletic. You've seen him and what he can do in baseball, and you've seen him what he can do as a quarterback. The dude is an absolute stud. I think he's going to help them. Not to mention, they have 7 seniors starting on defense. They almost have everybody back that are seniors. So they're going to make their presence known first year. No, they won't win it, but still 5th as your first year. I think that's pretty commendable. Then I have Oklahoma.
Oh, is that 5?
Oh, sorry. I take it back.
4?
I'm sorry. I take it back. I misread. I have Baylor.
Okay. At 5?
5?
Wait, no, at 4. I have UCF at
We
5.
can't count. I forgot where we were right now.
Yeah, UCF's 5. At 4, I got Baylor.
Really?
Ooh.
They didn't lose a lot. This is pretty much the same exact team as last year.
Yeah, which lost a lot of games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But I think they've developed. I think their team might be a little better. I think Sawyer Robertson will be the starter by the end of the season. I think the dude looks really good. I can't argue with that. I also like their wide receiver Kentron Jackson Jr. He's 6'2", 195. Toss it up. Give him a chance.
Toss it up.
I think he's going
Toss
to be
that salad.
an absolute stud over there. Then I have Oklahoma. I mean, I love Jackson Arnold. Dude is going to be insanely good. 5-star recruit. I think he was like number 10 overall in the recruiting class of all players.
Yeah.
But my issue is Dylan Gabriel gonna have a good year? I don't know, but I do think Jackson Arnold takes over by the end of the year.
I mean, I can't argue with that. We may see a little bit like a Spencer Rattler situation this time around.
I really do think he's gonna earn that spot. I mean, he just looks like a better quarterback right now. And based off of what Dylan Gabriel did last year, I don't trust him to be decent. I mean, he could have a good year, but I don't know. And then I also like JJ Hester and Drake Stoops at wide receiver. Anyone know who
Is that Bob? Is that Bob Stoops' son?
Bob
He's at
Stoops'
Oklahoma?
He's at Oklahoma.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Chris, you know who Bob Stoops is?
Oh, wait, I've heard you said coach.
Yeah, Drake Stoops, Bob Stoops' son.
Yeah.
He's
okay.
good.
I feel like I've heard the name.
But this is the first year he's actually getting a starting spot. He's the number 2 over there. He looks really good. No, number 2.
Okay.
I got K-State. I love that they landed Avery Johnson as their quarterback. Love it. They're returning all of their starters on offense this year. They didn't lose a single position on offense. So you're looking at the same team that won that Big 12 last year as an offense. Their defense is meh, but their offense, you can't argue with it. I think they have a decent year. I think they go 10-2.
Yeah.
Again, like Christian said, I'm kind of mad he broke that news, but Trayshawn Ward,
Baller.
he's
Certified.
He's
Oh,
good. He's good. He's good. I can't argue with that. Will Howard last year was 6-2 as a starter. You know the 2 games that he lost?
Tell me.
First game that he played against TCU. First game he played.
Okay.
He lost to Alabama last year. But then he beat TCU in the conference championship.
Yeah.
He's good. He's
Yep.
good. I can't argue it. I mean, losing to Alabama, you can't argue with it. They're not going to the SEC. They don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So that you could be looking at K-State taking over the Big 12
yeah.
for years to
I would
come.
love it. I would love it.
That'd be crazy.
Chris
You know what
Kleiman
years-
knows what he's doing over there.
Darren
man.
Sproles' old
Dude.
stomping ground. So before you start in your first one, I would like to say, as we all definitely don't know and definitely did not look up during the interludes before we had to stop at our Zoom calls, Trey Turner is 3 for 3 with 2 home runs. Can you believe that?
Whoop,
Are you
whoop.
guys surprised? Bet you
Boo.
bet you are.
I
Yeah. I
mean-
mean, he's been in like a horrible slump. So
Yeah, so that bumps
needed
his
it.
average up to 241.
Hey!
Oh,
A career 300
Almost-
hitter batting at
almost
241.
batting
I was just about to say that.
$1 million per average right now. Let's go.
Nice.
So I love it. At number 1, we can't argue it. Texas.
Texas.
Yeah,
They're back, baby.
They're back, baby.
They were 3rd in recruiting this year. 3rd.
It's that
I-
name, dude.
I guess, but where's that name been since the early
Horny for the
2000s?
Longhorns, dude.
I guess, dude. I guess hook them, and they hook them. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Welcome. Everything's
I
bigger
love-
in Texas.
I love Quinn Ewers there. He looked good. He only started 5 games last year and had 2,100 yards passing.
Average.
That's pretty good, dude. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I will say, I think Arch Manning, he might start a couple games only because he's gonna redshirt this year. 100% gonna redshirt this
Oh, yeah.
year. But I think he's gonna get at least a couple games under his belt to get him ready for the SEC.
What's the rule with that?
So you can play up to 5 games.
Is it
Mhm.
5? Okay.
It's 5 games.
Is it
yeah.
5 or it was
thought
4?
I was about to say I thought it was 4-2. I didn't.
I thought it was
look it
5.
up. I'm gonna look it up.
It might be-
I thought,
it might
I
be
thought it was like a
continuing.
third of a season. You get a third of a season, and then you
That
can.
might be right. I don't know why I'm thinking 5. Either way. But I do like the transfer wide receiver, A.D. Mitchell from Georgia. Any transfer you get from Georgia at this point, you gotta like, right? I really like what they added on defense, though. They added Jalen Catalan as safety, and they got Malik Muhammad as their freshman corner. I think you might see a few picks out of those 2. I think they're gonna do their job in that secondary now. I don't know what their front's gonna do, but that secondary is looking pretty good. For the Big 12 standards, I think their defense, they're gonna be a top 25 defense, maybe.
Okay, that's
Not bad.
commendable.
Yeah.
Not bad. But hey, that's what I got going on there. I will say I wanted to take some of these new guys coming
Yeah.
in. It's just
With this conference, it's really, like I said,
Yeah.
BYU, like they're not. It's really hard to say that. Cincy, as well as
took
Luke
UCF.
Farrell has done. I mean, even UCF, I'm not even that high on UCF.
Nick is.
I am.
He's a big Golden Knights guy.
Yeah.
He thinks it's hockey.
By the way, real quick, it's only 4 games as a red shirt.
Well, and then like the red shirt rules are so weird and confusing. Like it's like, oh, you can get a red shirt like if you hurt your big toe in game 2, and then you can get
Yeah.
another red shirt if you want to, and then like you can get a
Yeah.
third red shirt for some reason, but we'll give you a third one. And then you have the people who had like the COVID red shirts too.
Yeah.
So like there's
It's confusing.
like you can have like these super seniors that have been in college for like 7 years. They already have like 3 children. They're like just dragging them on through college.
So
But
I want to talk about this right now because I looked at this as far as how much Arch Manning's going to be getting paid?
Oh yeah, top of the NL. He's top 3, right?
Yeah.
2.8 million.
Yeah, right. So it's like top 3. I know it's Bronny at 1. I think
Yeah.
Archie Manning's at 2, and then is it Lily, the whatever face is from LSU, the gymnast, who's at 3?
Can you just
Bronny's is way bigger though, isn't it?
why do they need that much money? 2.8 million,
What,
dude.
you think that a Manning and LeBron James' son are rich? Are you kidding me, Nick?
Yeah, they well deserved. Well deserved. The only thing is like these are kids, man. I don't do they really know what to do with all that money?
I mean, at least,
no,
well,
but you
I
gotta
mean,
learn.
technically, yes and no. They both have very famous family members. I'm pretty sure they can have definitely help and tell them what to do with their money. But my big thing is, where do you see the Big 12 when it comes to the college football playoffs, though? Like we're high on these teams right now, but how high are we going with these teams?
I
This
think
year,
Texas is the. I
this
think
year, I
Texas
don't
is the
think
only
any
one
of
with a
them make it.
shot. I think Texas is the only one with a shot.
They're gonna go 10-2. I don't think it's gonna be enough because you're gonna have two SEC teams. You're gonna have at least one Big Ten team, and I think you're gonna get a Pac-12 team. I think USC takes it this year. I don't think any team. Texas is gonna get that fifth spot, as you like to say it, the first one out. But no one's gonna get it there. Now, when they get to 8 teams, you're gonna get to those spots where you're gonna have one team coming out of the Power Five conferences, and then you're gonna have a couple of these other people that
Like
come
3
in.
like wild cards, at
Yeah,
large bids.
so I don't, I don't, I don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't see any of these teams really being like a powerhouse to be able to knock out 2 SEC teams. I just don't see it.
Well, that's gonna be the interesting thing, because again, like you said, like 2 SEC teams last year. We had 2 Big 10 teams. You had Michigan and Ohio State. And I just feel like you're gonna have either 2 SEC teams or 2 Big 10 teams, or two of
Yeah.
them. And like Pac-12, like yeah, I feel like with the Pac-12 they always beat up on each other, and I feel like it's like the Big 12 they always beat up on each other to where it's like, oh, like I guess we'll have to slide in an ACC team this year because the other teams decided to go off. It's gonna be interesting. We'll talk about the ACC in the next episode. But it's gonna be very interesting because we're not going to talk about it now, but FSU, Clemson, I feel like those are the top 2. Maybe they aren't. We'll talk about them.
FSU, bro.
They went 10-3
We'll
last
talk
year.
about
Okay.
we'll talk. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Layup schedule. But no, I don't think USC is gonna get that 4 spot. They might even get even lower than that. I think they might get a 3. I think and they might, based off their schedule, go undefeated. Now they're not gonna do anything in the playoffs. I mean, but they're gonna get a bid.
I mean, what's his name's pretty good over there, quarterback.
Caleb Williams.
Do you know
I
who
think he's going to
their-
win the Heisman. I think he's
do
going
you
to win the
know
Heisman
who
again.
their coach is?
Again?
He's literally the quarterback wizard over there.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, you can't argue with it.
All right, but that's going to lead us off to our NHL playoffs. I don't know if anybody has done any research recently in the NHL playoffs, but again, 3-minute minor, not going to be 3 minutes because there's not much to talk about other than the first game of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So right now, Golden Knights are up 1-0 in the series. They took advantage with a dominating win at home in the first game. They won 5-2. 5 different people scored for Vegas that game, and 2 of them were defensive men. Aiden Hill had a great game in goal, saving 33 of his 35 shots, and Vegas has had tremendous goaltending throughout the entirety of the postseason. I told you how they had like the most people miss games goalie in the entire NHL, and they're still making this tremendous run. Now they play game 2 in Vegas tonight. I do believe the Vegas Knights win this game, take a 2-0 advantage going to Florida. They've just been the better overall team this series. Obviously, it's only been 1 game, but also throughout the entirety of the playoffs. The Panthers have been winning a bunch of 1-goal games throughout the entirety of the playoffs. And at some point, if you keep playing those close games, you're going to end up losing some. So it's going to be very interesting. I think the Knights are great favorites to win this game and definitely favorites to win it all.
Yeah,
they're up 1-0.
I did do some research on this.
Ooh,
so
okay.
Kudos. Knights scored 4 goals off of 33 shots. Their offense. I mean, they've been the number 1 offense going into the playoffs. It's been hard to stop them for any goalie. Sergei's played wonderful all the way until here. I mean, what was he had? I think he had like 63 shots on goal at one point and only gave up 3 goals.
Like I said, that Panthers defense is doing tremendous throughout the remainder of the playoffs.
And that's the thing, like you can't rely on your goalie Sergey and your defense to hold up. I don't think they hold up again tonight. Meanwhile, obviously, Christian just said Knights are up 1-0 already.
Yeah.
What's crazy is Panthers took more shots in game one than the Knights did, and only scored 2 goals. They looked like they were desperate and like didn't know what to do. Like they were scared to be there,
Right.
and they were just firing up shots. And meanwhile, you have the Knights that are taking these shots that they're giving them. So unless the Panthers can do something, I think the Knights are getting it done.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've kind of been in agreement with that since the Stanley playoffs or Stanley Cup playoffs
Stanley
started here.
playoffs.
Stanley playoffs.
There,
Since
Tyler's playoffs.
Tyler's. Yeah, I mean the
Shout
Knights
out
are
Stan the man.
heavy favorites. So
Did you think with Christian's hair, he has the hockey hair? You'd think you know a little bit more.
He even has the teeth.
no, I prefer to serve.
The lack thereof.
Oh yeah, right.
That's good.
Hey, I did research. I did research, David.
So I'm proud. I'm very proud of you. That's
you.
going to lead us into our NBA playoffs. Very, very interesting. Who wants to start with that?
I mean I can take it if none of you guys want to
Give
take
it.
it.
Give it.
I mean,
Get it.
let's see. I said Heat in 6. I mean now the way I see it is we're looking at Heat in 5. I mean we're catching heat. We're catching heat here, boys. Look. Heat aren't losing a game at home. I love to see it. I love to see it. They came out there. They took game 2 from Denver at Denver. And dude, I don't know. I'm just telling. I said they were gonna win it in 6, and that's because they were gonna lose the first 2 and then win the next 4. But they already went ahead and they took 1. I like this Heat. They're on it, and they're not gonna lose one at home. I'm telling you, they're not losing at home. They win both at home this time around. They're coming back into Denver and they're taking another one, and that's that.
See, I don't see that happening. I have a little bit more in depth, David. So I'll go on this one.
All right.
First game of the series when the Nuggets won, they held Butler to 13 points. Right?
Yeah.
Game 2,
21.
obviously Heat won, but still, Butler only had 21.
It's not bad though. It's
How
good.
long are you going to be able to hold Butler to few points? He's going to have a breakout game. It's going to happen. But to David's credit, Adebayo, Jokic he's not playing defense on him. The guy had 26 in the first game and 21 in the second game. He's just not covering him. Here's my crazy pick here. Gabe Vincent, 21 first game, 23 second game. Butler hasn't had to do it by himself this whole time.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I thought this is going to be a Butler run. I thought he was going to do it himself. Right. Meanwhile, his team is performing around him. They're holding their own. And I will say, first game, last week what I said, Jamal Murray, if you hold him under 20 points, you're going to win a game. First game, Nuggets won. Jamal Murray had 26 points.
Mm-hmm.
Second game, Heat won. Jamal Murray had 18 points.
18.
So you hold him under 20 points. 20. It's looking like you have a shot.
Good job.
The big thing is Jokic, man, he had 41 points. He did it all himself. He almost did half. He did it all himself in that second game, and I felt bad. And he was pissed getting off that court. He was pissed. But I think they split the series 1-1. Miami wins 1, Nuggets win 1. I think you're looking at a pretty good series.
Where do you have it lying? When it's all said and done, who's winning what game?
I think Nuggets are going to win the first game on this one. I think the Heat win the second game, but I think this might go game 7.
Go 7?
I think
I
this
would love to
might
see
go
it
game
7.
7.
But he asked you who wins the series.
Nuggets.
Nuggets. Okay.
Yeah.
I would love to see the Heat win. I would love to see that.
I would too. Yeah, I would too. I want Jimmy Butler to get one.
So yeah, like the series is heading in game 3 in Miami.
Heroes back. Heroes back.
Hero's back.
True. Hero is back.
They split the first 2. Game 1, Adebayo was the only offense for Miami. Jokic had 27 points, 14 assists, triple-double, with Murray tacking on 16, and even Aaron Gordon got in on the score with 16 points, 12 of them being in the first quarter. Game 2 was a completely different story. Jokic dropped 41 points. However, the closest person to that was Murray with 18. And then third is Aaron Gordon with 12. On the other end, Vincent led Miami with 23, and Butler and Adebayo both had 21, like we said, which is very good even scoring. And then Duncan Robinson, Sheen Estevez from Jimmy Neutron himself came in and balled out to turn the tide there in that fourth quarter. As the trend has it for this Miami team, whenever they are up in three-pointers, they are in the lead. That's what's been keeping them in this series, this entire playoff run. And let's add to this, Nick. Jokic dropped 41 points. What if I told you that the Nuggets were 0-4 anytime he drops 40 plus in the playoffs this year?
Ooh,
0-4.
not.
Now, let me tell you
They
this.
are.
Have we found out how to play defense? And it's been a tale as old as time. I can tell you this. You can let one man have all the points he wants, but is one man going to outscore your entire team?
Right.
No. And that's why I think the defense is. You let Jokic have his. But if you, as long as, like you say, you keep Murray down below 20, and then as long as you're doing your job on offense, one man is not going to score 80 plus points a game unless you're Kobe. And, I don't see Jalen Rose anywhere. Now, to prove this point, I like to go back, look at the NCAA tournament run. I'm going to use FSU as a great example. John Morant was balling out during the NCAA tournament. Now, FSU decided to let Ja have his when they played them in the NCAA tournament. He had like 40 points. However, they ended up losing by like 20 points that game because the other people on the team couldn't score anything. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Now, Butler is an amazing defender. So having him guard Murray and making sure he can't, what's so funny?
It's funny because he just skipped. We lost him for a good 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I skipped?
No. Christian skipped.
I did.
And he started laughing. That's why.
But yeah, like I said, Butler's amazing defender. Him guarding Murray is going to make sure it's fine. He won't get Jokic to help with those numbers. But if Jokic can sit there and be the only person scoring and no one else is adding, then a whole team is going to be able to outscore one guy. We say 40 points is a phenomenal game, but he's lost 4 games this postseason scoring 40 points because no one else has been able to do anything. I'm actually kind of worried now about Denver. Now, have they been found out? Is this how you stop Jokic? I still feel like with that, Denver has the slight edge. I have them winning in 6. I want Miami to win. I would love Miami to win. I just think offensive-wise, defense, just talent-wise, altogether, I feel like it's going to be Denver. The only thing that the Heat have for them is Butler's absolute dog and Eric Spoelstra's coaching. So we're going to see what that's going to come down to in the series.
Well, and like what Christian said, you have Tyler Hero.
Hero's coming back.
I mean, that's. But the only thing is he's coming back. He's not going to be fresh.
That's why Kevin Love.
Love, Caleb, my favorite Sweet Life on Deck cast.
To add to that, man, I will say, I mean, the Heat have just one of the best coaches in the league ever.
For sure.
I mean, maybe like the best coach to ever coach because he's taking
That's a stretch.
Watch your mouth,
Phil
man.
Knight, yeah.
Yeah, but Phil Jackson had a lot of people around him. Miami has been taking teams to the playoffs.
Yeah,
consistently.
It's Phil Jackson, bud.
Who's Phil Knight?
You did. You said Phil Knight, bro.
What? It's Phil Jackson. I know.
Phil Knight's the Nike guy.
No, Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson.
I said Phil might have had. Teams.
I said Phil Knight, who's the CEO of Nike. Knight. That's my bad.
Oh, yeah, I know Phil Jackson. Sorry,
True Jackson VP.
He's gonna go down as one of the best coaches to ever coach. Yes, Phil Jackson is great, but he has had when he was with the Lakers, he had Kobe and Shaq. You can't argue with that.
Didn't bro have Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James?
Yeah, those are Spoelstra's only titles.
But he's taken these teams to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Almost every single year. And you can't argue with that. It's experience.
Yeah.
That's gonna bring it.
Nick Nurse is better.
LeBron James goes to the playoffs every single year.
Okay. If we're gonna start talking about Jordan,
we're not bringing it up. We're not bringing it up. Nope.
Day 5 without Nick bringing it up.
Hey, so that's gonna bring us into our certified baller.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes, sir. This week's certified baller. I don't know. For me, I thought it was pretty easy. I think this guy here was the difference maker in what is right now the biggest stage in sports. This week's certified baller is Gabe Vincent. He led all scorers on Miami with 23 points. He went 4-6 from the 3-point shooting, and he hit all of his free throws when his team needed him the most. He was knocking down shots. This was a guy who a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I mean, nobody thought nothing of him, wasn't expecting much of him. I mean, he was signed as a I forget what it's called. It's like a two-way contract, I want to say, with the Heat. He's going back and forth, not doing much. And then next thing we know, here we are after a mediocre game one, comes in with a big game two, and he's helping Miami push their way to, hopefully, I hope at least, a title. And I mean, like I said, when you do it in the biggest stages of the game, I mean, that's just what it puts the biggest exclamation point on anything. If you go,
Sorry, FSU softball team just hit a dinger, a 2-run shot. My bad. Keep going.
It's okay. He's
it
frozen.
happens. Yeah. Oh, I wasn't frozen. I was just sitting here
He's
staring.
fine on mine.
Yeah, I was staring. Just staring.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
But yeah, so I mean, when you come out on the game's biggest stage and produce like that, I mean, you have to get your credit where the credit's due. So shout out Gabe. I think that he come back and we'll see a good showing from him in game 3, but I think we'll see a very familiar face shine even brighter in game 3 in Jimmy Butler. And then for the deflated baller of the week, I had a hard time picking who my deflated baller was this week. I couldn't really pinpoint one singular person, so I went ahead and picked a personal one to me. So to me, the deflated baller of the week would be the entire Phillies team.
Fair.
I picked them to win every game last week, and it just so happens that to start off the week, they get swept by the Mets, and I was in attendance for that game. Now, do any of you guys know who our lone one run was on that Wednesday night? A solo home run by Sosa. That was
yeah.
all. Yep.
Yeah, that was Wednesday.
It's
all.
unreal. Yep. Sosa hitting that home run.
It was like a line drive.
And it was barely, it was barely over
that is a big ballpark though. Let's be honest. It's a big ballpark.
It was like the straight left field though. He pulled it.
I will say real quick before I resume that Mets fans, you guys need to get it together. That ballpark was not electric at all. At all. And my boy who's a Mets fan will double vouch for that.
The thing is they want to say they have the best mascot in the league, but we all know who the best mascot
it's
in the league
Fanatic.
is. Come on now.
But
it's because he has a baseball head. Ugh.
To return to it though, I mean, so on the finishing the week, the Phillies go ahead and round it out with a 2-4 record. With like I said, the sweep to the Mets and then one loss to the Nationals at the Nationals. But I mean, the Nationals are one of the worst teams in the league, let alone the division.
They lost tragically.
Yeah, they did. I mean, you run down Wheeler through a horrible game, and then you come in and run it back to tie the game 7-7, and then you lose it 8-7. That's awful. I just can't wrap my head around the fact that this team is an NL champ, and they've come out and made the team better, and they've done nothing but seemingly get worse.
That pitching, dude. It's that pitching.
Yeah. So we'll see. The pitching, I literally have it right here. Like David just said, the pitching woes continue, and we continue to struggle in that aspect. Hopefully, we can maybe find some success. It looks like the Phillies might be heating up now that it's June. Boys are hitting homers. We love to see that.
Schwarber's month.
Schwarber's month, yes, sir. Harper's month. Looks like it might be Trey's month if we get it going right.
Statistically, it's also Harper's month.
That's what I said, I think. But for now, because I couldn't find something else, the Phillies, you're my deflated baller of the week.
I like it. I mean, it hits home. Mine,
unlike the Phillies,
right? Mine is actually gonna be Caleb Martin for the Miami Heat.
Yep.
He went out there and he was averaging like 15 points a game last series against the Celtics. He comes out here in the first 2 games, 3 points in both games. That doesn't get it done.
J. Cole is just disappointed in him right now.
Right? Just doesn't get it done, man. I mean, I can't argue with it. You get 6 points in 2 games when you're going out there and averaging 15 points a game. That's awful. If you can get him starting, I could see them Heat making a run. Plus, you have Hero coming back, going to open up Martin to be able to take some shots.
Yeah.
Again, you get 6 points in 2 games. That's god awful.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
so bad.
I'm going to start off with my deflated baller, but I'm have an honorable mention for certified baller afterwards. So
Ooh.
my deflated baller this week is going to be the Hornell High School baseball team out in New York, minus their second baseman. They were playing in the Section V Class B1 baseball championship in New York. They were up 5-1 going into the bottom of the seventh. And if you don't know, they only play 7 innings in high school baseball.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You have a 4-run lead. They made costly errors in the field, including a dropped pop-up, routine pop-up to the pitcher with 2 outs. He drops it. It's 5-4 now. 2 outs, 2 strikes. The pitcher pitches it. Strike 3 was called, but it was a dropped strike 3. The catcher goes to tag the guy, misses the tag, looks at the umpire. The umpire calls the guy safe. What does the catcher do? He puts the ball in his back pocket, and the whole team, minus the second baseman, proceeds to celebrate as everybody else is rounding the bases.
That's a good one.
Because of this, the Hornell team, when the second baseman is saying, guys, please, like they're running, this game's not over, they lose on a dropped third strike walk-off.
Yeah.
Now, is it a little messed up for me to come after a bunch of high schoolers?
Nope.
Maybe. But I think it's a little on the coaches too, because they got to know in this situation what's happening as well.
It's bad coaching.
So, yes, it's just unfortunate for the people in high school. You know, you're to the end of their season, but it's more unfortunate for those high school seniors whose careers get ended because of this. And that's why the entire Hornell high school baseball team, minus their second baseman, is going to be my deflated baller this week.
You wanna come out here, come after the coaches. I'm coming after that catcher.
Yep.
I mean, that is
know your shit.
That's awful. That's awful. As a person that's caught
you
before,
see it in the video, you see it clear as day. He goes and looks at the umpire, and the umpire goes safe. He literally goes safe.
Yeah,
he mentions safe, and the guy goes, yeah, and just starts celebrating. Like, what are you thinking there?
As a person that's caught before, you do not do that. You do not. I'm sorry. You know what you're doing. You're in charge. You literally are the person that's in charge of the field. I don't care. Everyone might say center field, yeah, he's in charge of the outfield, but as a catcher, you are in charge of that infield, and whatever happens, you better be looking at that umpire. So if you want to point fingers, that's on that catcher, 100%.
I just hope, I hope he's not sitting there thinking about it for the rest of his life. What he was some small mistake that he made in a high school baseball game.
I hope he does.
When I was 17, I ruined my whole entire future.
He doesn't. He doesn't truly love the sport if it doesn't haunt him for the rest of his life.
But I'm going to go into my honorable mention for certified baller this week. I'm going to have the most biased certified baller.
Oh boy.
It's going to be the whole FSU softball team. They have been dominating the entirety of the softball tournament. They punched their ticket to Oklahoma City for the
literally
punched their ticket. Series.
Literally punched their ticket. Did you see that second baseman? Bam, dude!
He smacked that.
Oh, dude, smacked her.
They had a series sweep against 14th ranked Georgia to get to Oklahoma City. They followed up with an 8-0 mercy rule against the 6th ranked Oklahoma State team, and a 3-1 win on Saturday against the 7th ranked Washington team, who they beat in the national championship several years back. They won on a tremendous play. The shortstop made an awesome jumping catch and threw the second for a double play. Now tonight, FSU is playing Tennessee. Right now, it's the bottom of the 6th. FSU is up 5-1. If FSU wins, they punch their ticket to the World Series. And right now, Oklahoma has already beat Stanford to punch their ticket, so they're looking to face Oklahoma. Oklahoma has only lost 1 game this entire year.
That's unreal, dude. They play a decent amount of games.
Insane. They've played like 58 games this year. That's absolutely insane. Now, to put this in perspective, this would be FSU's 3rd trip to the championship in the past 5 years. They've only won 1. If Oklahoma makes it, this would be their 4th consecutive trip to the World Series. They've had 7 trips since 2012, winning 5 of those. And, I mean, it's going to be interesting. You have a team that has only lost 1 game. Oklahoma is obviously the favorite. Right now, FSU is up 5-1, bottom of the 6th, so they just need to take care of business for one more inning after this. I hope they do it. It's going to be a tough task, but they are my
Are
certified
we are we
ballers.
saying
They stand no
Oklahoma? Are
chance.
we saying Oklahoma is like the UConn of women's basketball?
Well, so like for a long while, like in the early 2000s, I was looking up, doing my research. UCLA was dominating college softball. Like
UCLA.
Yeah.
UCLA was apparently they were dominating college softball. I looked at the
I
stats;
thought
it's
Florida
absolutely
was pretty
ridiculous.
good for a couple
They
years.
won. They won
Florida,
one
Florida
year.
is really good at baseball and softball.
No.
They're a good
I think,
school.
yeah, because I
So
know
is
FSU
FSU.
baseball won the championship
Yeah,
not too long ago, and those softball team also won in like 2016, 2017.
Florida
yeah,
was ranked like the fourth in the nation this year, I want to say, for baseball.
Yeah, Florida's like I think they're like one of the top teams going into it.
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
So that's gonna lead us
Yes.
to our hot takes of the week, then, right? Is that what we have
Before
Yeah.
left?
before we start, I
Uh-oh.
want a moment of silence for David's hot take last
In
week.
the arms
Yeah, give me
of
that rock band music.
the
This guy picked the Reds to take first place in the division.
X.
Loved it. Thought it was good. They are in fourth place now. They're in fourth
Boom.
place. They went from second to fourth. I'm sorry, David. Brewers just demolished them over the weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now they're in fourth place.
Listen,
And
of all
I
those,
apologize. As your dad's favorite team, I'm sorry.
I have a Reds King Griffey Jr. in my closet right now.
Ooh, ooh. And that's the last time they were really good.
If you can say that. I mean, they were really good in 2012. They were the best team in baseball going in. They were 2-0 against the Giants, and then the Giants came back and ended up winning the World Series. So,
But before we get into the hot take, can I bring up the AL East?
dude, so
Yeah.
good.
So
I
far.
mean, they all have winning records. You have the Rays at 42-19, the
Yeah.
Orioles at 37-22, Yankees at 36-25, Blue Jays at 33-27, the Red Sox at 30-29. Are you kidding me? That is like most of them are in like at least second place in any other
Yeah.
division. That's crazy.
So, I guess I'll start it off. Yeah, like Nick decided to rub in my face this week. The Reds did not complete my hot take. They started off the week so well. They won 2 of their first 3 games, and then the Brewers lost 2 of their first 3. They were 3 games back, and they lost 3 straight to the Brewers out of 4 games. Now there are 6 games back and in 4th place. I apologize, Dad. I did not mean to put that upon your team. So I will go with my hot take for this week. We know who the hottest team in baseball is right now. Arguably, it's the Tampa Bay Rays. But there's a team lurking just around the corner right there. A younger team that is flying high right now. Just 4 games back in the AL East. They
Yep.
boast the 3rd best record in baseball. That's right. The surprise Baltimore Orioles this year. I think they will be in first place in the AL East, second in the MLB by the end of the week. And I think the Rangers, double up on that, will be first place in the whole MLB this year. And we had to look at their week this week. Why is this? Well, they play 2 3-game series against the Brewers and Royals. Now we know how the Brewers like to ruin my hot takes. Let's see if they do that here again. The Rays play 2 series, first against the Twins, who will lead the AL Central, and they play another 3-game series against the Texas Rangers, who are the 2nd best team in baseball right now. I think they will be the best team in baseball at the end of the week. I think they win the series. They may even sweep them. So I guess this is going to be a double take prediction. Baltimore Orioles will be your first place in the AL East. The Rangers will be in first place in the entire MLB.
David, be careful with that Orioles prediction because I picked that week 1 as my hot take, and
I just got to be worried.
I thought it was set.
I just got to be worried about the Brewers right now because they have something against me. I don't know what it is.
That's right, man. That is exactly right. Christian, what do you got over there, man?
Yeah, my hot take for the week, boys, is any pitcher in the MLB this week will record 15 or more strikeouts in a single game.
That you don't have anything to back that up?
No, not really. I looked at some of the pitching matchups. There's a couple of good games this week. I think Alcantara is set to start in one of the games versus who was I just looking at it for? Who's Miami playing? Yeah, they're playing the Royals. Royals are one of the worst teams in baseball. That's a good one. I think Garrett Cole's also set to start one of the games against the White Sox, and he's having a good year as well. So those are two people I would like to watch for. But the record for most strikeouts in one game is 20. The last time I think we seen anything above 15 was over a couple years ago.
Does
So
Roger Clemens have that record? Who has the record for?
no, it is. Oh, I'm sorry. Kerry Wood tied Roger Clemens. So
Okay.
they're both of them.
So that's it. That's what you got.
So we're saying a single player, not like a team.
One single player to record 15 or more strikeouts.
Okay. Just look at whoever the A's play.
Yeah, right. Literally.
I like it. I like it. I will say, my hot take hit last week.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. You know,
What was it again?
I said a team is going to go over 15 runs. David, who did it?
It was the Rangers. Absolutely
That's
comstered the Mariners.
And
Yeah.
I told you that was one of the series to watch. Rangers they are so good with the bats this year.
The whole team
Crazy.
is so good.
It's crazy. They're a favorite for sure.
Yeah.
But my hot take this week is hitting home. Phillies will have at least 15 home runs this week.
I mean, what we already have 3
And
tonight.
this was I swear to
Yeah.
you, I did this before. Trey Turner hit 2 bombs tonight. I think and I wrote this down before. Game 1 tonight, Wentz is on the mound, 7.28 ERA.
Carson?
Phillies, right? throwing heaters. I said Phillies get 2 homers in this game. I can't make it up. I wish you can't read my handwriting, but 100% put it on there.
It's actually pretty
We're gonna
solid.
get 2 home
handwriting.
runs tonight.
I didn't see it.
Game
It's
2,
It's rheumatoid
Game 2.
arthritis.
right? Game 2, they didn't announce their starter. So I think they're going with their bullpen. I think the Phillies go out there. I think they're going to get a decent amount of home runs tomorrow. If they're not announcing a starter, that's kind of iffy.
We can only hope they do as well as they did last week.
I don't know, man. I think this
Yeah.
might be the week. Game 3, Olsen, 3.6 ERA. Not bad, but he's gonna give up another 2 home runs. This is it. Then leading into the weekend, it's gonna be a great series. You have the Dodgers at home in Philly. They're playing in Philly all week. It's gonna be electrifying. Remember the last time we played the Dodgers? It was an absolute offensive series.
It's electric.
Yeah.
Boogie,
So-
woogie, woogie.
This is why I think you're gonna see 15. Not to mention, people like Schwarber that literally is an absolute menace when it comes to June. I think he has 49 home runs in his career in June, which is
Yeah.
insane. Harper, absolute stud in June. Now apparently Trey Turner wants to add to it, and he wants to start getting some.
And Castellanos has been playing a really good
Nick's
year
been
this
playing
year.
out of his mind.
He has.
He hasn't been hitting those bombs. Not a lot of people have died this year, but I mean, he's been getting on base.
zoning in. But
Gold Glove.
I can't. He's not gonna be a Gold Glove. I just can't argue with it. 15 home runs minimum. I just see it happening.
And I believe that is it. That's our last segment of the week. So
Wait a minute. Can I get
Oh.
a quick question?
Never mind, Christian.
What was the math on how many home runs does the team hit per game?
Well, this is a singular team, so it's like 1.25 per team per game.
Okay. All right. I like the take, Nick.
Yeah, that's like over 2. That's literally over 2. They have 6 games.
Yep.
That's over 2.
So yeah, sorry for the premature ending there, but yeah, that's the last segment we have. Really thank you all for watching. Next week we're going to be covering over the ACC, or this week, the end of the week, we're over the ACC. Going to be giving you some uptakes there, some updates over on NHL, NBA. See how we did. We'd like to thank you all for listening. Hope you guys have a good week.
Yeah.
Hey, can't wait to see you guys on Friday. Enjoy it. Love it.
Trying
Have a
hard.
good one,
Hopefully I
boys.
have a house.
See y'all later.
See ya.
Deuces.
Come join the hype. We not just blowing steam. We're known for our hot takes, blazing like fire, bringing heat to the table, never preaching to the choir, debating on players, teams, and even strategies. We keep it real, the sugar-coated fallacies. David's on the mic, spinning knowledge of flair. He breaks down the stats with a voice smooth like air. Christian's a funny guy, bringing laughter and joy. He got the jokes unlocked and no one can destroy. Needs the analyst, break down the X's and O's. He sees the game differently than nobody knows. Together unite, forming a podcast dream team, making waves in the industry, fulfilling their schemes. Highlight taking pockets, we taking over the scene. We drop dubs and chugs, live in the sports dream. From hot takes to deep dive, it's a winning regime. Come join the hype, we not just blowing steam.